You know, it's funny how matcha suddenly became the new symbol of health and calmness. Everywhere you go, there's a matcha latte, matcha ice cream, matcha croissant, and even matcha skincare. It's like the Kardashians of the tea world, famous, photogenic, and always trending. But here's the catch. People often use matcha and green tea like they're the same thing. Spoiler alert, they're not twins. They're more like cousins who grew up in the same family but went to very different schools. So let's break down what really separates matcha from your regular green tea. Is matcha just a fancy, overpriced version of green tea? Or does it actually deserve all the hype it's been getting? Let's find out right here on History of Food. Let's start with a bit of tea history. And yes, pun totally intended. Both matcha and green tea come from the same plant, Camellia sinensis. That's right, it's the same plant responsible for black tea, white tea, and oolong tea. So technically, they're part of the same leafy family tree. What makes them different isn't the plant itself, but how they're grown, harvested, and processed. Green tea has been around for thousands of years, first cultivated in China, then later refined in Japan. Matcha, on the other hand, has deeper roots in Japanese tea ceremonies. Think of it as the spiritual, disciplined sibling who meditates at sunrise, while regular green tea is the chill one you sip while scrolling through your phone. The cultivation process of matcha is way more intense, and that's what sets it apart. Here's where things start to get interesting. Regular green tea is grown under direct sunlight. The leaves soak up all that sunshine, which increases a compound called catechin, known for its antioxidant properties. Sounds healthy, right? It is. But when it comes to matcha, the farmers take a completely different approach. About 3 to 4 weeks before harvest, matcha plants are shaded from direct sunlight using bamboo mats or cloths. That might sound like an odd move, but it actually triggers a fascinating chemical reaction. With less sunlight, the plants produce more chlorophyll, that deep green pigment, and more L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes calmness and focus. So while green tea gives you antioxidants, matcha gives you a calm alertness, kind of like being awake but zen at the same time. This shading process also gives matcha its rich umami flavor, that slightly savory, smooth taste that feels luxurious compared to the lighter, sometimes bitter taste of regular green tea. Once the leaves are ready, they're harvested differently too. For green tea, the leaves are picked, quickly steamed or pan-fried to stop oxidation, and then dried. After that, they're rolled into little bits or curls and packed up for brewing. Simple and straightforward. Matcha leaves, known as tencha before they're ground, go through a more selective and delicate process. Only the youngest, most tender leaves are picked. The stems and veins are removed, leaving just the soft parts of the leaf. Then these leaves are carefully stone ground into a fine, bright green powder. And I mean fine as in so smooth it could rival your high-end face powder. That powder is what you whisk into hot water to make matcha tea. So instead of steeping and discarding the leaves like with regular tea, you're actually drinking the entire leaf in powdered form. That means you're getting a more concentrated dose of everything: caffeine, antioxidants, and nutrients. Preparation is another major difference. Making green tea is pretty simple. Add hot water to tea leaves, wait a few minutes, strain, and you're done. Matcha, on the other hand, is a bit of an art form. Traditionally, it's prepared using a bamboo whisk called a chasen and a bowl called a chawan. You don't just stir it. You whisk it into a frothy, velvety texture. It's ceremonial, precise, and honestly kind of relaxing once you get into it. Of course, modern versions skip the ritual. You can find matcha mixed into lattes, smoothies, cakes, or even cocktails. Meanwhile, green tea tends to stay in its comfort zone, brewed hot or cold, sometimes sweetened, but rarely reinvented. If you've ever tasted both, you know they're worlds apart. Green tea tends to be lighter, more refreshing, sometimes grassy or slightly astringent. It's the kind of drink that feels cleansing, perfect for a mid-afternoon break. Matcha, on the other hand, is bold and creamy with that distinct umami kick. Because you're consuming the whole leaf, the flavor is deeper and more complex. It has a smooth, almost buttery mouthfeel that regular tea just can't match. That's why it blends so well with milk. It's naturally rich and velvety. But here's the deal. Not all matcha tastes the same. High-grade matcha, often labeled as ceremonial, is sweet, smooth, and bright green. Lower grade or culinary matcha, which is used for baking or drinks, tends to be more bitter and darker in color. So if you tried matcha once and thought it tasted like grass mixed with chalk, you might have just had the cheap stuff. Now let's talk energy, because that's what most people really care about. Green tea contains caffeine, but not too much. Roughly 20 to 35 milligrams per cup. Enough to wake you up a bit, but not enough to make you jittery. Matcha, since you're consuming the entire leaf, packs about twice that amount. Around 60 to 70 milligrams per serving. That's still less than a cup of coffee, but the feeling of the caffeine is different. Thanks to L-theanine, that amino acid I mentioned earlier, the caffeine from matcha releases slowly, giving you a smooth, sustained boost of energy without the crash. It's why so many people switch to matcha from coffee. Instead of being wired and anxious, you feel calm and focused, like your brain's running on clean energy. Both green tea and matcha are loaded with antioxidants, especially EGCG or epigallocatechin galat, which is linked to a ton of health benefits like improved metabolism, better heart health, and reduced inflammation. So, are matcha and green tea the same thing? Technically, yes, they come from the same plant, but in practice, they couldn't be more different. Matcha is the focused, mindful overachiever. Green tea is the relaxed, easygoing sibling. One's powdered, potent, and precise. The other's light, simple, and chill. At the end of the day, it really depends on what you're looking for. Want a clean, refreshing drink? Green tea's your go-to. Want something with more depth, energy, and flair? Matcha's your match. Pun absolutely intended. Whichever you choose, both are incredibly good for you, and both come with centuries of culture and craftsmanship in every sip. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution.